Yo, is anybody on the live here? Is anyone on? I don't know. I don't know if anyone's here. But Ian and I, how you doing, Ian?
I'm doing pretty good. It's snowing a lot outside. But yeah, it's doing pretty good.
We're alone. Oh no, there's someone here.
That was fast.
Someone left.
Oh. We always do that. Like as soon as someone comes on the live,
yeah,
like,
right.
Someone's on the live.
Someone's on the live,
and
then they
like,
leave.
Yeah,
They leave the live immediately. Okay. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Book of Boba Fett today. So what did you think of the show overall?
Overall, I didn't really see the point of the show in general. We have 4 episodes, with flashbacks and a bit of the present, and we're seeing how Boba's character was changed by his experience with a tribe and family, and a group of people, how that changed his morals and his beliefs, but that never pays off in the end. In the present story, there is no development for his character whatsoever. We have these flashbacks that seem somewhat sort of pointless at the end of the day, as nothing really happens in the end to Boba's character in the present day.
He doesn't really apply anything. I thought the show was gonna be about him applying his like newfound beliefs and the lessons.
And maybe conflicts will come to that come to those beliefs, but there wasn't really any.
Nothing happened. It was so strange.
They had ideas for the first 4 episodes, and then for the rest
3.5. Because in the 4th one, they like ran out of ideas, and Boba Fett was like, "Let's go in the Sarlacc pit."
Oh yeah, that was so dumb.
It was like, why?
And then,
why are you going in?
And there was the Spy Kids chase. That was not
the greatest car chase of all time.
That was so slow, man. That was the worst thing I've seen. Maybe
that was
in
really
Star Wars.
slow.
Yeah. If I were to give it a grade per se,
no, we're not going to do the grades now.
No
we're
grades?
at the beginning of the video. We got to talk
okay.
for a while. We're not going to give our grade till the end.
Well, I don't know. I just didn't personally see the point of the show.
I thought it was really good at first. I
first,
praised it for being more of a character study than like an action-y show. Like The Mandalorian was kind of like, oh, you like Star Wars? Here's some action. Here's a cool, mysterious character. But then it was just like a bunch of crap. Like it just turned into like this CGI noise, like Marvel fight.
Yeah.
With like a monster at the end. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Everything they built up was extremely rushed. Like there was no real like payoff for anything.
It didn't even feel like that built up when you go to the end, because there's 2 episodes where the main characters in the previous 4 episodes aren't even in the.
What are you talking about? And he nodded at the Mandalorian in the corner.
That was great. That was great.
What is it in Disney Plus? It's like Boba Fett learns new information or something.
The caption for that video where Boba Fett's not in it. Basically, he's in one scene where he just nods at Mando, has no dialogue. But it's called Boba Learns
New information or something.
He doesn't even learn anything. Oh God.
He learned how to nod.
This was like extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. I mean, like extremely. Boba's like an interesting character. It feels like he has an interesting past. He's lived a very interesting life, a life that probably does a lot of shit to people, a lot of stuff to people's morals. So I don't know. They didn't explore any of his past really.
They have like flashbacks to him on Camino where he's watching his dad fly away, and I was like, "Oh, are they going to explore that?" And that's like symbolic of him living in his father's shadow or something. And he's like, but it's like no, they just showed that because they were like, remember the prequels? Yeah. Like they didn't really, nothing served a purpose. Like
I thought that was going to be explained, and we might actually have some flashbacks about it, the past and his relationship with his father. Even like in Clone Wars, we see Boba like he's like almost a crime lord at a very young age, and I think that would do to something to someone's psyche, and that's not very really explored at all. We just have,
if anything, they were more like focused on that in Mandalorian. Like, remember the Hondo guy tells him like, "Oh, you should do the honorable thing. Your father was like an honorable man," and then it's like in this, it's like in Mandalorian, he does the thing where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna join you and help you get the baby back." And I was like, "Yeah, that seems super in character with what they had like established with his character in the other shows." And then in this, it's like, what does he do? I didn't know what they were like setting up with him and the Tusken Raiders. Like, I thought the point was already that he was like a more honorable character, like because of his father. Like, I thought they were trying to say that his father was already like this honorable warrior or whatever, and that like he had that like instilled into him from his father. But they're like, no, he learned honor from the Tuskens, and I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna show him like mixing the beliefs of his father, the beliefs of the Tuskens, and stuff like that. But they don't really. Like, they just kind of ignore that. Like, they focused on the Mandalorian for 2 episodes.
Yeah, that was strange. I think we got to mention the Mandalorian. It's not even a cameo. He's literally a character.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, Mando might show up, help him out. No, it literally turns into the Mandalorian. And it wasn't, like, that bad. Like, if I view it as that. But by the end of the show, I'm like, that shouldn't have been there.
No.
Because it takes away screen time.
He's in the final scene with the Grogu.
The final scene of the show
is Mando.
Not Boba Fett.
Not Boba Fett.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck?
And it kind of contradicts season 2 of The Mandalorian, as the whole purpose of Mando's whole purpose in season 2 of The Mandalorian was to get Grogu to safety for the rest of his, I guess, adolescence, and grow up to be a very powerful and safe, like a powerful Jedi, and trained Jedi. But after, I'm assuming not that long of a period of time.
No.
He comes back to
because it can't. Him. Yeah, it can't have been that long because remember when he goes to visit like his Mandalorian friends or whatever.
Yeah.
He tells the Jon Favreau guy, "Thank you for saving me," and that was from like the 3rd episode of The Mandalorian. You remember that? When like what's his name? The Carl Weathers character like confronts him and he's like, "Oh, give us the baby," and then he doesn't, and then the rest of his Mandalorian companions show up and save him. So they're implying that he had not reconnected with them since that point in time. So it's like it has to have been like a couple weeks to a month.
Yeah.
And why would he not feel Grogu safe anymore?
He just wanted to visit him, I guess, and then Grogu comes back for some reason because apparently you can't be a Mandalorian and the Jedi at the same time.
Even though that's who the first guy was.
When you think about it, most Jedi don't live up to the Jedi code at all. Anakin was dating Padme. Obi-Wan was in a relationship with, what was her name? Satine.
Yeah.
Like, all these Jedi were doing a lot of other stuff other than just following the Jedi code. And now Luke is very strict on following the Jedi code for some reason, even though his father's demise was because of the Jedi's code. I don't know. I don't think that makes any sense why Grogu can't be a Mandalorian and a Jedi at the same time, as the first Mandalorian is literally a Jedi. But he decides to take the armor Mando gave him and go back. And then I would think Mando would not be okay with that. As you've mentioned, Grogu was only approximately with Luke for like a week or a month. And it seems in the episode that we watched, he was getting his kind of first training. He was just getting his baby steps in place. Like he was just learning.
Yeah, like he doesn't like, I it could be the fact that they're trying to imply that, can you pull up the chats on your phone?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it could be the fact that they're trying to hint that, like, okay, he's been trained enough, he's more confident in his abilities, or at least Luke is confident in his abilities enough to the point where he can go back to Mando without needing the proper protection. Yeah, so it's just like, but he was with Luke for like a couple days, maybe.
That's not enough training.
He learned how to flip pretty good.
What I'm trying to say is it doesn't make sense that Mando is okay to be with Grogu again. Especially, in my opinion, he should be very angry at Grogu since Grogu decided to come back and now he's in danger. And Mando, who is someone who cares about Grogu, sorry, I'll be back.
Okay. All right then. Who's on the live? Someone has joined. But we were just saying that it doesn't make sense why Mando is fine with Grogu being with him again. Like, why would he be okay with that? after his entire journey was having to give him up to be properly trained and be safely cared for. Something that I already touched on in my previous video, but it doesn't make any sense. The plot doesn't make any sense. Like, if viewed as a Mandalorian show, it doesn't even work as that. That's the problem. It's like, even if Mando takes over the show, it's not even a good Mandalorian show. It's just like assassinating the characters, contradicting the arcs that have been established. Like, none of it made any sense. It was terribly written. None of it made any sense to me. It just seemed really badly written. And that sucks, because I actually really did like the show before, but it's just so pointless. They just turned it into the Mandalorian, turned it into this stupid Avengers crossover. Everybody's here. It's just got to the point of insanity. It was just an Avengers show within Star Wars. It's just so pointless. You're back.
I am back. Okay.
I think someone's on here, but they haven't chatted or said anything. So.
All right.
Someone is watching. Who's watching? It's not you, is it?
Might be me. Yeah. Although I don't think it usually doesn't say that when you're on the live stream that you're like it doesn't add to the count. So it might be someone else other than me.
Well, they haven't chatted, so I don't know. They're not joining in on the discussion. At any rate.
Do we want to go episode through episode, or do we want to just?
We were talking about Luke and Grogu.
Okay.
And how it doesn't make sense that Mando's like, oh, come back to Luke.
He shouldn't be okay with Grogu being back, especially in a dangerous environment and in a very large altercation. I know he tries to hide Grogu, but at the same time,
he just walks in front of the Rancor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I know, like, okay, he's like, oh, Grogu's coming down the Rancor. But it's like when Grogu walks in front of the Rancor, Mando just lies on the ground. It's like, he should get up and be like, oh, shit, like, try and jump in and catch him or something, or save it. Like, he should have some sort of, like, instinctual reaction to protect him.
Yeah.
But he's just like, oh, okay, I'll let Grogu walk in front of the giant thing. We could easily just chomp him up right then and there. Like,
yeah.
It's just, like, it's completely nonsensical.
There was a lot of nonsensical stuff in the last episode. Even in the 6th episode. I didn't notice them at first, but you pointed out a lot of plot holes when it came to Luke and Ahsoka's characters.
They weren't plot holes, but they were just, like, inconsistencies in their character writing. Like, they weren't, like, consistently written. They contradicted. Oh, Israel, you're here. Someone is here. Yay. That's great. But yeah, we were just talking about how they assassinated Luke and Ahsoka and like everyone in the Book of Boba Fett show. They like destroyed everyone's characters.
Yeah, they really did.
And like something I didn't touch on in my prior video was like when Luke brings out the training ball or whatever, like that he used or that Obi-Wan used to train him with.
Yeah.
And then Grogu like pushes it around as if he doesn't know what it is. But then he's like, no, this is how you use it. And then it shoots a laser at Grogu. But if I'm remembering correctly, there was a scene in like Attack of the Clones where it shows a bunch of Padawans using that type of training droid. So Grogu should recognize that. Like I'm pretty sure in Mandalorian Season 2, Ahsoka said he was trained in the Jedi Temple, right? And they show him in the Jedi Temple during Order 66. And like they have this weird line later that I guess tries to explain it where she's like, oh, you're teaching him well or something. And then Luke is like, it's more that he's remembering that I'm actually training him. And it's like, okay, I guess that's meant to explain it. But if so, like, how would he not remember the training ball? Like, what is he remembering? He's remembering how to flip, I guess. Remembering how to flip real good. Flip like Yoda. Like, what was the point of that? It just, like, that didn't make any sense. And, like, Luke... I mean, I don't know if anyone else has a different perspective on this, but I'm pretty sure the way you're meant to think of Luke in the original movies is that, like, the Jedi were, like, this crooked, like, society of people who were unwilling to change their ways, and that led to their downfall and destruction. And so when Luke comes along, he's like, I'm going to change these ways. I'm going to change the principles of the Jedi. And his, like, belief that his father was still, like, at heart a good person was what led to his redemption. So the fact that Luke now believes in the old Jedi principles is idiotic. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That goes against everything about his pre-established character.
Yeah.
Like, why would he act like that? Why would he be like, you're giving into attachment if you go with the Mandalorian? Like none of that made any sense. Like, number one, why would he have to make a choice between Mandalorian and Jedi? Because Tar Vizsla was a Mandalorian and a Jedi. But then, on top of that, Luke is acting completely out of character. Like, it wasn't until the end.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, he was acting fine. I was like, oh, it's Luke. Nice. He has a CG face and looks slightly better. Still a little bit weird, but, like, he looks slightly better, you know? But then it was like, what? You just assassinated everything about Luke. And then, like, in the final episode, I guess he just, like, sent Grogu alone into, like, a war zone or something. Like, what was that? Grogu just... Are we meant to assume that Grogu hijacked Luke's X-Wing? Or are we meant to assume that Luke sent him... Because they say that R2-D2 was the one that piloted it. So I'm assuming Luke, like, Grogu can't put in coordinates. So I'm assuming, Luke told R2-D2 the coordinates. And then he piloted the ship there. Luke, why you being an idiot? If you showed up, the fight would be over in 5 minutes. Like, I know that's why they couldn't have him show up. Because he's too OP.
Yeah.
But, like, why? Why not? Like, why... does Luke have anything else? Any other priorities? Like, anything else he would have to do at this point in time? Other than, like, help people who are in danger or facing injustice? Like, isn't that what you're meant to do as a Jedi? Like...
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, I've got to hang out over here in my forest and do nothing. Like, he doesn't have any other Jedi students at that point.
Yeah.
Like, what else is he doing? Why can't he help out?
I don't know.
He just sends a baby into a war zone. Great. Like, how do people think that's good? How do people think that episode was good with Luke? Like, how does everyone think that was like? And people are like, oh my god, it was the best Star Wars I've ever seen. And I'm like, I already broke it down in my video, but like, nothing about Ahsoka makes any sense.
No. Why she's there?
Yeah, like when he wakes up and then she's just like there.
Has she just been stalking Luke like the entire time, or does he know she's there?
Well, I'm pretty sure he does, because like they walk up and they have a discussion, and it's like implied that they've met before. But even if so, like, why would you not show us that? Like, Luke and Ahsoka meeting could have been a really emotional moment if put in a different show.
Yeah, and I'm assuming she wouldn't want to know Luke. Like, that would be an interesting scene if she met Luke, the son of Anakin, as she knows, as we've seen in Rebels, what happened to Anakin, how he turned out. I'm assuming that brings...
Yeah, and Luke could tell her, like, no, he changed in the end. He was still a good person deep down. Like, that could have been a really poignant scene, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, you're just like your dad, bye. And she just, like, walks away or whatever. And he's like, where are you going? Will I see you again? She's like, maybe. But, like, realistically, like, why is she there? She doesn't want to train Jedi, as she said in The Mandalorian. Like, she doesn't want to train Jedi anymore. So she's not there for any logical reason. She's just there to tell Mando that he can't go visit Grogu.
Yeah.
Even though her entire character arc was learning the Jedi are corrupt. Which is why she left the Jedi. Like, have you noticed this about the live-action Star Wars stuff? Is they're trying to act like Ahsoka's Jedi? Even though, like, she never was.
Yeah.
Like the episode from The Mandalorian that she was in was called The Jedi. And he goes up to her and he's like, you're a Jedi. And she doesn't say, no, I'm not. Like, do you remember, like, every time someone called her a Jedi, she's like, I'm not a Jedi anymore. I am no Jedi. Like, she, in the other shows, whenever someone addressed her as a Jedi after she left the Order, she was like, no. Like, she denied it. She was against it. Mm-hmm. But then she's like, oh, now I believe in the Jedi principles now. Oh, you can't go see Grogu. That's giving into attachment, bro. What? When was this her character?
Why can't he give into attachment?
Why can't he go give Grogu the little present? Like,
why can't he visit his, like, basically son? Like, someone he views as a son.
Yeah, and like they're already contradicting her character. Like, they already had assassinated her character in The Mandalorian because she, like, killed people without remorse for some reason.
Yeah.
And then she, like, didn't, like, follow up on her word to Mando of training Grogu. Like, he was like, I'll help you, like, what's the right word? I'll help you, like, free this town from enslavement if you will train Grogu. And she's like, okay, sure. And then at the end, she's like, sorry, psych, can't do it, bye. And then, like, it was like, but maybe you can go talk to a Jedi on this planet. But yet again, the Jedi don't really exist anymore. Yeah. And then it's like, okay. But now they're like rewriting that because she's like now hanging out with Luke. So it's like, oh, wait, if you knew Luke existed, why didn't you go tell Mando that he was there? Why didn't you take Grogu to Luke? Or like, she was unwilling to train Grogu for the very reasons, like at least like that was somewhat in character for her, because like when he's like training Grogu, she says, "No, I've seen what like he already like has like a very large detachment to you, and I've seen what that can do to like a fully trained Jedi."
Yeah,
Anakin, like I've seen what can happen, and Anakin went down a dark path, and I don't want that to happen to this child, so I won't train him. But then when he's like, "Oh, but why are you letting him train with Luke?" She's like, "Because that's his choice." It's like, wait, what the hell? Like, no, she like won't let Grogu get trained because she doesn't believe in the old Jedi principles. But she's like letting Luke train him by the very principles that she opposes.
Yeah.
Like why? Like she's only been in 2 episodes in live action. And her character is already like inconsistently written in like 2 different episodes in live action. Like you see, like it's not just inconsistent with her character from the animated stuff. It's inconsistent with the character they established already in the live action stuff. Like they like contradicted her character and then contradicted her again. It's not just inconsistent, it's really, it's terrible. It's like assassinating a character whose arc has been constructed over like 15 years. What even worse is that they like, yeah, like what is her show gonna be about? Like she's gonna go find Ezra and Thrawn, but why did she go to see Luke or whatever? Like her main objective, like what if Thrawn, like let's just say, I mean this would be out of character completely for Thrawn, but let's say Thrawn's somewhere out in the unknown regions like torturing Ezra at this point in time, and then Ahsoka's over here just saying, "Yo, you can't go visit Grogu." Like, why would, like, realistically, wouldn't her primary objective be to, like, help the person she owes a life debt to? Like, she tells Ezra himself, or herself, that she owes him her life.
Yeah.
Would that not be her primary objective? Would be go find him and help him? The last time she saw him, he was, like in the same area as, like, an evil guy. Or I guess they characterized him as evil.
Yeah,
but like,
Thrawn,
he's with a bad guy.
Thrawn wouldn't care to attack Ezra, man. Like, you wouldn't. No.
Like, I think what would be interesting is, as I stated previously, is if in the Ahsoka show, he and Ezra come to some sort of compromise and understanding, and they work together. Because in the Thrawn books, they use Force-sensitive children to navigate hyperspace.
Yeah.
So he could like, because Ezra's whole like character in Rebels is, I have to protect my planet, my people. Mm-hmm. Thrawn's entire character motive is protect my people. So if they both came to some sort of compromise, Thrawn explained his like entire reason for being a part of the Empire, then I feel Ezra would understand him and they could come to some sort of compromise and work together. Mm-hmm. Because in the Thrawn books, there's the greater threat, the Grisks. Mm-hmm. The Grisks are like this greater threat that have been like infiltrating like hyperspace lanes very close to the core worlds. Okay. And if you explained that threat to Ezra, then they could work together. And if Ezra knew there was a bigger threat, and that's the reason why Thrawn was within the Empire in the first place, then I feel they work together. But what they're probably going to do is he's like, I don't know, torturing Ezra or some shit. I mean, animation's like, they're just going to like contradict everything. They're going to destroy all their characters. Like, it's just like, oh, they're out here. But yeah, it's like, why would, like, nothing about Ahsoka being there makes any sense. And like, I don't want to watch the Ahsoka show anymore. Like, I have my skepticism about it even after The Mandalorian, because they like basically assassinated 2 core aspects of her character, which was her like commitment to her word and her like moral code of not killing people. Yeah. Like, I always saw her as the Batman type character where she's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Right? Yeah. Like, she's like, she only killed when it was absolutely necessary, or when the people she was fighting were like very obviously like malevolent. but like, if now she's just like killing people, like she already knows that the people within this village are like being enslaved by this cruel magistrate lady. So why would she not try and like reason with them or something? Because like for all you know, they're being forced to like hunt you down or something, and like she's threatening their families or something. Like we don't know enough information or context behind like who these people are that she's killing.
Yeah.
There's literally a scene where she jumps down from a rooftop like a horror character and like pulls out her lightsabers. And it's like, oh, and I'm like, what the heck? And then yeah, like isn't there a line in Clone Wars where she said, and it was I listened to an interview with the actress who voiced her, Ashley Eckstein or something, and she said my favorite Ahsoka quote is the one from season 7 from that really bad arc with the sisters or whatever, and she says, "When I see people who need my help, I help them no matter what. It's just who I am." And then you have her be like, "Sorry, Mando, I can't help you." Like she basically like tricked him into helping her.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, help me, and then I'll train Grogu." But then she's like, "Psych, I can't train Grogu. Maybe go here and maybe a Jedi will find you." But yet again, I don't even know if any Jedi exist anymore. And then now she's here, believing in the old Jedi principles that she opposed for so many years. Like nothing about her makes any sense. At this point, I think some stuff should stand. Yeah, I agree with you, Israel. Like, I like seeing these characters in live action was a prospect I was excited about. You know,
Yeah.
like, and I don't dislike Rosario Dawson. I think she's like, as an actress, she embodies like the character's mannerisms and stuff like correctly.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed this thing in Clone Wars where like she's always like leaning on something with her arms crossed. Like she's doing that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So like you've got the mannerisms down. Like her performance is fine. It's the writing for her character that's bad. And it's like, but what I don't understand is how being translated into live action made these changes occur, because it's the same people. It's Dave Filoni. Why does he just now not care about this character? Like, I thought Ahsoka was his idea. Like, I've seen stuff, it's like Dave Filoni considers her to be like his baby. Like, he created this character. And it's like, oh, now like, oh, her morals, they're out the window. They don't matter anymore. Every key, like cornerstone of her character doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Why should I care? Like, her moral compass, everything about her is being destroyed by these live action shows.
I don't feel like Jon Favreau has more power than Dave Filoni.
Jon Favreau needs to go. He needs to get out of here. Jon Favreau is like ruining all this. Like, he's destroyed Ahsoka, destroyed Luke, and then yeah, it's like it contradicts all these characters that have been built up for years. Like,
and the funny thing is, it does that in an episode called of the Book of Boba Fett, and Boba's not barely in that episode.
He nods at Mando in the corner.
And we were talking about this, how they have 4 episodes focusing on Boba's past, their present, how he met Fennec. There's 2 episodes where he's barely in it, and then they just pick up with his character again, and that just doesn't feel right. Like, you can't do that. You
didn't develop any of it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and it's like the thing is, like, I saw people saying stuff like, "Oh, the episode where it's all Mando reminded me of the Bad Batch episode where it's focused on Hera," and I was like, "Yeah, it's similar," but the Bad Batch still like had the Bad Batch in it, and they played a role, but it was also like part of the story. And that show was like almost 20 episodes. You have plenty of time to tell the story. When you have 7 episodes to tell your narrative, you need to focus on your priorities, and this show didn't. Unless their priorities were to sabotage everyone's characters to set up another Mandalorian season. But like, what are you saying here, Israel? At this point, even Batman is killing people. People think killing is cooler. That's why people want MCU Spider-Man to kill. So I think that's why Ahsoka's. Yeah, you're right, Israel. It's like an edgy thing, right? It's like, oh, it's so edgy. They're killing people. Wow, isn't that great? Like, that's what people wanted Boba Fett to kill people. Like, that's my main, I was surprised that people didn't like the first 4 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, because they were like, I want him to be ruthless and kill people. And I'm like, so you don't like character growth? Like, you don't like to see the character change? Like, that was part of his journey, is like learning compassion, and like the old ways were wrong. And like,
his moral compass.
He's sick of working for people who don't care about him, and he wants to provide a safe haven for people where they can like look up to a leader who actually like cares about their well-being.
Yeah, and
so like him going around murdering people, like ruthlessly would go against what they're establishing with his character. My problem is not like whatever they did with Boba. It's the problem is that they focus so much of it on stuff that was completely superfluous and doesn't connect to his story. And at the end, it's like so rushed. Like, okay, third episode, I want to ride this Rancor. Final episode, he's on a Rancor. He perfectly knows how to ride it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like there's no build up there. There's like so many moments in there where like if built up more over the course of like a longer narrative, or even if they just spent more time in those prior 2 episodes developing his story, then they would have like felt earned. Like when Mando was like, we should escape, and then he's like, no, these people are counting on me. I can't leave them behind. And I was like, bro, you don't even know them. Like he never like he hung out with like the lady who ran the bar or whatever.
That doesn't.
But then she like
that's not Mando.
She got blown up.
Yeah.
The only other people he hung out with were the biker gang, and Mando, and Fennec, and the pigs.
Yeah, that's just.
The only time he ever interacts with like regular people are them telling him that, like, people don't respect him.
Yeah.
Like in the third episode, there's that water dispute, and the old man comes up to him and he's like, "With all due respect, sir, no one respects you." And it's like a joke, but it's also like, I thought that was the point of the show, is that he's going to prove like his worth as a leader, and that people would grow to respect him because there's a leader that actually cares about them and isn't just like operating the criminal underworld for their own selfish means. But it's like, nope.
No, then we have a couple episodes of like the Mandalorian and Luke and Ahsoka,
and destroying their characters.
and then we have a final episode,
which is just CGI,
which feels
noise.
disconnected as they took a two episode gap, and you don't really have a care for the present story going on with Boba because you just had 2 episodes where Boba wasn't even in the story. Like they didn't focus on him in the last even 3 episodes. I didn't think he was focused on in the third episode. He's just there. Like in the last episode?
No. Like everyone else is like telling him what to do. They're like, "Oh, Boba, this is what we should do." And then when Cad Bane's trying to like, I don't know, egg him on or whatever, Fennec is just like, "You're emotional. You need to calm down," or whatever. And you pointed that out. Like, why does Boba need to be given advice in his own show? Like, why is everyone else?
The whole point?
Everyone else is formulating the plan. And the thing is, Boba actually had like a better plan. He's like, we should go back to the palace where it's more heavily fortified.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we have to fight here in the middle of the streets or whatever. And he's like, okay, fine. But like in context, like Boba's actually being smart, because if they went to the palace and had the battle there, then no innocents would like get hurt or anything. But then later you see like people running away and screaming, and the Rancor shows up, smashes buildings, potentially hurting like several innocent people. Like, why? Like, these people are like, we have to protect the innocents, and it's like, well, you're not protecting the innocents. You're like having a fight out in the middle of the street or whatever. And it was like, and like every good moment was like ruined. Like the moment when Boba's like, all right, Mando, see you later, and he's like, no, it's against the creed. I'm staying until we both fall. And he's like, you really believe in that? And he's like, yes, I do. And he's like, all right, we should leave. And he's like, no, I have to. People are counting on me. It's like, okay, I don't care. But then when he's like, are you really going to stick around? And he's like, this is the way. And I was like, cool. Yeah. And then the guy comes in and is like, may I interrupt? And I was like, no.
And he talks for like 45
Yeah, he talks for like 10 minutes. And I was like, dude, why are you in the show, man? Go away. You ruined this like really good scene. And like I kind of like that. Like it was kind of like a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid moment. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie. You haven't seen it yet, but it's like got Robert Redford and Randy Newman or whatever.
Okay.
Or so it's like there's a moment at the end of that movie where they're like, all right, we're gonna just jump out and like take out as many people as possible. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like that's like a Butch and Sundance moment. I liked that.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see them like out in like, it's like the most primal instinct ever, like primal feeling of that was cool. Like it was cool to see them, like you get to see them use all of their different gadgets. Boba uses a rocket, Mando uses little whistling birds or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. Like there was like some cool moments there. I was like, okay, I kind of like that. And when Fennec goes and saves the biker gang, I was like, oh, that was kind of badass. But then she does like that weird backflip.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the 7th episode, when we were watching, it was really funny
because nothing made any sense about like the setup.
After this 5th and 6th episodes, you lose hope for the show because they can't make up a present story in one episode while executing a finale, and that was very like obviously.
It was an hour long, but it felt so rushed.
It was just an action sequence. They didn't even add to the story after the 4th episode. The present story just stopped, and then there was a big action sequence. That was it. It was really dumb. The Pikes started just. It was really funny when we.
So like at the end of the 4th episode, Boba like meets up with all those crime families.
Yes.
And then he's like, "All right, help me fight the Pikes." And they're like, "Nah, bro, I don't want to do that." And then he's like, "All right, well, just agree to my terms of not accepting alliance with them." And they're like, "I abide," or whatever. And it's like, "All right, okay." And then Fennec's like, "Do you actually believe them?" And he's like, "No, like not at all." And then they just like forget about that. So then at the beginning of this episode, they're like, they've sent out like a couple people to like each corner of the like area. Like they've got the bikers over here watching this group. They've got Chrysanthemum over here. They got the pig guys over here. And then like they all start attacking them. And then Boba had like no plan to like fight them. Like they just started like the pigs are up on like this like desert frontier, and this train is like coming past. And then these guys are like on the other side of the train. And it's like, wait, how did they get there? How did no one notice that they were like
walking towards them? Yeah.
Yeah, how did like
it was strange. The 7th episode was laughable to be
it was like funny.
And it wasn't the worst episode.
No,
but at the same time it did kind of mess up.
It was badly written. Like
it messed up Mandalorian season 2. And
yeah, but like no, let's keep talking about just what we were talking about. Like the entire like Boba created a treaty with these different crime families, was pretty confident they were gonna betray him, and then just decided to like not come up with a backup plan in case they turn on him, which he feels is likely to happen. Why would he do like? And then he just got a bunch of his like friends killed. Like he got the pig guys killed and stuff. It's like, oh, well, why didn't you like have a plan, dude? Like he just like, and then they just like started like attacking them like in the middle of the street or whatever. And it was like, you need to have a plan. And then he and Mando go out and start fighting guys, and then they get beaten down because like, oh yeah, that was really stupid. Do you remember the part when like the guy falls off the roof and they're just like shooting at like this one guy like 10 times?
Oh.
Do you remember this moment? They're like fighting all these guys, and then they shoot this one guy at the same time on top of this roof, and then he starts falling, and they just keep shooting at this already dead guy, and then that gives all the other like snipers like the opportunity to fire on them. So then they get like taken out because like these guys are like they just decided to start shooting at some guy that was already dead, and then the people of Freetown or whatever show up, and it was like oh, there was supposed to be this like moment where they're like, yes, they came to join the fight. Yeah. And they like immediately like lost. They were just like, get behind the tank or whatever. And then like they bring up these like giant droids that were like extremely slow and ineffective and like fired extremely slowly.
Well, it was really funny when we were watching the droids because Mando and Boba actually have a conversation in the episode while a droid
it's like firing at them
standing in front of them, and it takes like 20 seconds for it to move its blaster and actually shoot at them, and by then they're long gone.
No, it was funny because like they're in the middle of the street fighting, and the droid like it does fire at them, like they're having a conversation, they talk for 10 seconds, then Boba goes move, and then it shoots at them. And then they talk for another 10 seconds, and Mando's like, move, and pushes them out of the way again. But it was like, wait, why did it take so long to shoot at them? Like, it was like, they didn't really show, like, why should I buy into these, like, cannons as being, like, a true, like, imposing threat? Yeah, because they're extremely slow, and they don't show them, like, doing any damage. Like, what if they took out, like, I don't know, the main biker girl, or they took out, like, the bartender guy from Freetown, or like some character that like we know, and it's like, oh shoot, so this is meant to signify to the audience that they're a big deal. Like they took out like a relatively major character, but they don't do that. They just shoot like a bunch of faceless extras or something, and like did they even show them hitting anybody?
No, and it's
but then they like corner them in the street with these giant tanks, and they just like start shooting at the impenetrable shields for like 5 minutes for some reason, and then Boba's like uses the rocket and fires like the rocket, which doesn't make sense because like he only has one rocket in his jetpack.
Yeah.
That he can fire. He has to reload it, but like the other rockets are back at the palace or whatever. So like he wastes his rocket by firing it at an obviously impenetrable shield. And you may say like, oh, maybe he was just testing it out or something, but it's like you wasted your rocket, and like it's like it doesn't like do anything. Like you just wasted a really valuable weapon on this like thing that you know is impervious because like he was in the Clone Wars when they had like the droidicas or whatever. Remember the droidicas?
Kind of. The big giant robots.
No, like the droids from the Clone Wars that like rolled around and they had.
In the Saw Gerrera arc where they slid under them. And
well, they were in like the prequels as well, but yes, and in the arc with Saw Gerrera from Clone Wars, they show that they just need to like roll a grenade under, like a shot grenade under the shield, and it like damages them. And if they had shown them like attempt something like that in the episode to then be like, oh, this is like a different kind of technology or something that like they can't penetrate, then that would have been reasonable enough. But they don't do that. They never establish that it's like some higher tech weaponry or something. Like
no.
So, and like, but then and then Mando pulls out the Darksaber and starts like hitting the impenetrable shield with the Darksaber. I'm like, bro, slide under the shield and stab it with your Darksaber. Like what was like they were just like being really dumb. They were just like shooting at the shield.
Well, there's a lot of dumb stuff in this episode.
They were just like, let's shoot at the impenetrable shield for no reason. Okay, great.
We have a villain in Cad Bane.
Oh, Cad Bane! What the frick?
Yeah. Okay, so Cad Bane, if you don't know, is a character from Clone Wars.
I feel like everyone knows who Cad Bane is. We don't need to explain his backstory.
Okay.
But he's just about like all you need to know is he's a bounty hunter.
He and Boba have no relationship whatsoever. At least it's not shown.
No, like there was a. I mean, if some of you don't know this, that's not unreasonable. But there was a canceled arc from the Clone Wars where he and Boba Fett, or Cad Bane and Boba Fett, were going to like team up and work together.
Yeah.
But that never made it into the show. So all you can find online are like unfinished animated reels from the canceled episode or whatever. Yeah. And it shows how Boba Fett shot Cad Bane, and that resulted in him having the metal plate on his head and the Bad Batch and stuff like that. But like on screen in any of the shows, that was canceled. So they don't have any relationship.
They don't have any relationship.
And like from the very beginning, the first scene he shows up and Cad Bane walks up to Cobb Vanth and goes, "Boba Fett is a killer," and it's like, so are you? Like, it's, like you are literally a bounty hunter.
It was hypocritical. His motivation. Obviously, he's
he had no motive.
He just other than just working for the syndicate.
Yeah, but then they were trying to like
make it
personal for some reason,
and that doesn't make sense.
No, because he's like they're trying to like act like, oh, you haven't seen. Well, like even if you haven't seen the other shows, like you could say, oh, well, if you're watching it as an audience just having watched the live action shows, maybe he's just some new guy. But he literally 2 seconds later shoots a guy 5 times in the chest.
And then he is such a hypocrite. He blames Boba Fett for bounty hunting and killing people. The same thing that he's doing.
And then he blames Boba Fett for taking away Cobb Vanth's armor or something.
Anyway, this character is just not good, man.
He has no relationship with Boba Fett.
In the 7th episode, there is no relationship, so there's no hype up, really, for the final fight, or whatever you want to call it. He goes away.
Yeah, he shows up in the street.
And then he goes away.
And he's like, okay, Boba Fett, I'm going to tell you this bit of backstory. The Pikes killed your Tusken tribe. And then that's meant to like make Boba Fett angry and provoke him to fight him. But then Fennec has to calm Boba down for some reason. And then Boba decides not to fight him. And then Cad Bane's just like, all right then, bye. And like walks away, walks around the corner. And then later in the fight, in the middle of the Rancor fight, he just turns around and walks around the corner.
We don't know where he went.
He just like left the fight for some reason. He's just
why would he leave like the station where he's supposed to be? Like,
where did he go? He just left the fight. Just walked away.
He would have been given the same directions as the other Pike guys because he works for the Syndicate.
Yeah.
So they go,
and he's, if anything, more like skilled than them.
They go to attack the building as they are ordered, and he's gone for like a couple hours, maybe 40 minutes, and then he comes back. I don't know if he didn't hear the blasters or the freaking Rancor destroying the town. I'm assuming that would be really loud. But he just comes back and it's just...
And then he shoots a flamethrower at the Rancor.
And then the Rancor gets scared. Well, that makes a little bit more sense than I first thought.
Yeah, because they do show, like, earlier people shooting the Rancor, and it's, like, very upset about that. So it's like, I guess it doesn't like flamethrowers, but it's just like, okay.
This is kind of dumb.
Cad Bane just left the fight and then comes back later. It's like, okay, dude. And then he's like, the standoff between him and Boba makes, like, literally no freaking sense.
It's supposed to be the climax of the show.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the climax of the show, and it's like these two characters who had one scene together 20 minutes ago.
It's the opposite of a climax. It's literally... It's
the most underwhelming thing I've ever seen.
It's the most underwhelming part of the show. It's not even a climax. It's just...
You know what would have been a climax? If that was Fennec.
And
they had that twist occur, which was naturally built up to. There was reason supporting Fennec turning on Boba, and then it would have been an emotional conflict. Like, I don't mind in, like, concept, Boba killing Cad Bane with the stick that he forged as a part of the Tusken tribe that symbolizes his new path in life. And he's killing Cad Bane, who's a representation of, like, the Bounty Hunters Guild, his past life, and he's, like, basically killing his past. Like, I don't mind that symbol, like, the symbolic imagery, but, like, it doesn't make any sense. like nothing around it makes, like, so, and, like, he's at the beginning of the episode, he's there with Mando, and you can see he doesn't have the stick on his back, and he flies away to go get the Rancor, and I guess he, like, took a detour to get his stick. Like, he has missiles and blasters and other more effective weapons, but I guess he thought he might need the stick for some reason. Like, out of all your equipment, why would you, like, go out of your way to go get your stick? Like, I don't know why he would do that. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but, like, it's just kind of weird to think, like, he flies away from the dangerous war zone to get his Rancor and also his stick. Because, you know, he'll definitely need that stick, bro.
Definitely.
And then, like, Cad Bane's there with him, and he's like, "You're a killer." And it's like, okay, so are you.
You're a killer too.
You totally are a killer. You killed like 2 people in the last episode. Okay, Israel, see you in a bit. But yeah, it was just like just a bunch of noise. And then it's like he's like, "I'm faster than you," and he's like, "But I have my armor," and he's like, "We'll see," or something. It's like, wait, it's like a statement of fact. Like, he literally has armor on his body that you can't penetrate. But then, like, he shoots Boba, and, like, that somehow, like, takes him out of the fight. Even though, like, earlier he was getting, like, literally a barrage of laser fire shot at him from, like, snipers all, like, in a bunch of buildings, like, around the square.
Yeah.
He and Mando were getting pelted with laser fire, and that just bounced off his armor. But, like, one guy shoots him, and it, like, takes him down. Like, and, like, yeah, and I expect, like, because Cad Bane's, like, a good shot, you know? Like, he can take people out. Like, he took out Hunter in the Bad Batch. Like, the guy's skilled, right? The guy's a skilled shot with a blaster. So I was like, okay, when he walks over to Boba and, like, whatever is standing over top of him, I was like, oh, they're going to show, like, a singe mark on his like, robe or whatever. Like, they're going to show that Cad Bane shot at the exposed part of his armor. But no, like, he literally just shot his armor. Like, he shot the Beskar.
And he's really hurt.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm down. It's like, wait, what? How? Like, what?
You can tell the creators didn't care about the show.
They didn't care.
Attention to detail. Even just minor, minor attention to detail. They didn't care. Like, the whole show, there's no climax, there's no payoff, there's no message at all. It's not even a show. It's just, you have episodes of the first 4 episodes correspond with one another and actually make sense. And then you have 2 episodes that really aren't involved in the show, don't connect to the show like the previous 4 episodes. And then you have a final episode that doesn't connect to the first 4 episodes. It just has this random character from Clone Wars. And if anybody's never seen Clone Wars, they have no clue who this guy is. Just a random blue guy who's like contradicting
that only really matters if you've seen Clone Wars, and like the only thing that's meant to do is make people go, "Oh, that's Cad Bane." Like, outside of him being that, like, there's no emotional connection between Boba Fett and this guy. He's just some guy. Like, he's just, like, if you're watching this, like, as just a person who hasn't seen any other shows, he's just like a guy who showed up and Boba Fett killed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but like, and they didn't even like build it up to make sense. Like literally, like a small change that would have made it like slightly better is if they had revealed it, like, or they had revealed the fact that Cad Bane had been behind the assassination of Boba's tribe.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, the Pikes hired him like way earlier, and he was behind the assassination of Boba's like family, basically. And then that would add like another layer of like emotion. But instead, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like at the beginning, like Cad Bane walks into this like room, and then the Pikes are like, "We're going to explain everything we did." They're just like, "We killed his Tuscan tribe. The only reason we're saying this is so the audience can know this information, and so that Cad Bane can like hear this information." Like, you get what I mean? Like, the only reason they say that they killed the Tuscan tribe was so that Cad Bane would know that, so later he could like taunt Boba with that information. Like, if Cad Bane had been responsible for that, then there at least there would have been some emotional conflict. Like, Boba is mad at this guy because he killed like these people that he cared about, but instead he's mad at this guy who just told him someone else killed the people that like he knew. Like there's no and like the person who takes down the guy responsible for Boba's family dying is Fennec. Like why? Like Fennec just shows up, kills all the crime bosses in one room, and leaves. It's like, wouldn't that have been more like potent if it was Boba who did that?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, wouldn't that have been better if it was like Boba like looked the guy in the eye as he died or something? Like that would have been like satisfying. He got his revenge on this guy who was like evil. But it's like, no, it's like he just kills like this random guy who like walked out of the middle of the desert or something. Like I remember when we were watching that episode and like you see the guy, the shadowy figure in the distance. I was like, there's just a guy walking in the desert. And then I was like, wait, is it Cad Bane? Like, when Cad Bane's just here now. Like how is this guy alive? Like, where did he go for 20 years?
I don't know. He just was. We were just supposed to assume. I guess he just bounty hunting, and now he's just angry at Boba. I don't know.
No, but like what I mean is, in the original trilogy, Darth Vader hires the top bounty hunters to hunt down Han Solo and the crew of the Millennium Falcon, including Boba Fett, but not Cad. Like, if like I understand, like in context, Cad Bane didn't exist back then. Like he wasn't a character, but they have to like write this to make sense. Like, okay, they write in some reason for that, but as is like Cad Bane, like in the timeline of Star Wars, I guess disappeared for 30 years or something, and like just decided to come back. Like, I'm pretty sure he would have been number one on the list of bounty hunters if he was alive, like during the Galactic Civil War.
Yeah.
The last time we see him is he's just on some planet and got left there by Fennec Shand. So like, I guess he like, did he just get stuck there for like 30 years and the Pikes found him and we're like, hey bro, you want to like come help us out?
It was, I don't know. My expectations, I thought at first up 4 episodes were pretty good, and I was like, yeah, this is.
It was well written.
Let's see how this pays off.
It was fun. Like, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was well written. They were doing something interesting with the character. They were like developing a character that for years had been just like the cool guy. Like, he was just some random guy who was standing around in the original movies. And they were like developing him and giving him a moral code, and they were setting interesting pieces in place. And then like, it kind of started to go off the rails a little bit in the 4th episode when he's like, oh, I have to go find my armor in the Sarlacc pit for some reason. Like, why were you going in the Sarlacc pit? Like he's going there. He wants to like in context, that's reasonable enough. Like, he climbs out of the Sarlacc pit in the 1st episode. He's delirious. The armor gets stripped off of him. He gets knocked out. So I understand how after years, like, he would have forgotten about that. But then, like, we need to know the context of, like, how he found out that Cobb Vanth had the armor.
Yeah.
Like, when did he find that out? Because as is, like, in the past story, all we know is Boba Fett was a part of a Tusken group. They got killed. He found Fennec Shand. Fixed her up. They got his ship back. And he didn't know where his armor was. It's like they set up a plot line there that never got resolved.
Yeah. Like,
he's looking for his armor. He doesn't know where it is. The logical reasoning, like the logical like expectation is they will show how he found out where the armor was. Because in The Mandalorian, we see him watching Mando drive off into the distance on a speeder bike. And we're like, oh, okay, so he's looking for the armor. Then later on he comes back and he's like, oh, where's my armor? So it's like, but wait, like, why didn't you go get it from Cobb Vanth when he was there?
Yeah.
Like, I saw this theory online that was like, they thought what was going to happen is he would find out that Cobb Vanth had it, and he would realize that Cobb Vanth was using it for like a noble cause, like protecting the town from raiders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, okay, I will like let you have it, and then when the moment is right, I'll try and get it back if he like one day like gives it up or something. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable. But they never show that. So like in context like of these Mandalorian Boba Fett shows, why would he just like wait for Mando to take his armor and then like track him across the galaxy? Like, if this guy already had his armor and was in some village that was like relatively nearby to where he is, why wouldn't he just go up to Cobb Vanth and be like, "Hey, dude, that's mine. Can I have it?" Like, why would he just like wait until someone else takes it and then like tracks them across the galaxy for like a couple days? Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah, this
like there's a lot of plot
holes. lot of plot holes, especially in the last episode when it comes to sound, the topic of sound. A lot of people don't hear the events taking place, the building, the explosions, the blasters.
Yeah, when Amy Sedaris, like,
she shows up, she literally lives in town. Like, she is very close to the village. Like,
well, no, she lives in Mos Eisley.
You don't think she heard it though?
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying she doesn't live in the town. She lives in a different town.
Oh, okay.
But like, yes, I agree with you that it doesn't make any sense why she like didn't hear what was happening.
Especially when she got closer and closer to.
Yeah, she just shows up and is like, "Hey, Mando, how's it going?" And he's like, "Turn around! I'm fighting a giant robot." And then she's like, "Oh shoot!" And it's like, wait, what? How did you not hear the giant like monster battle?
Wouldn't she see it too? Like, if she's outside of the town, she's going in. Wouldn't she see the giant monster that's taller than the buildings?
Well, no, the Rancor wasn't there yet.
No, okay.
But like, she wouldn't like. I agree with you. Like, they're like the droids weren't bigger than the buildings, but they were very large, and there was like explosions happening. Like, how would you not hear explosions and like screaming and people like running away? Like, I don't know. Like, that doesn't make like why is she just like there with Baby Yoda? And people were like, "Oh, it's so sweet to see Boba and Grogu reunite." And I'm like, no, because it contradicts the entire narrative of The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, it really does. I don't think Mando's taking Grogu back to Luke, to be honest.
Yeah, when it ended, you were like, "Oh, he's taking him back to Luke," and I was like, "Oh, that would make sense." But then, like, then that doesn't happen. He's just like, "All right, let's go fly away," and then it ends. It's like, oh,
yeah. So
you just like.
I don't know. You just watch Mandalorian season 3, I guess. I don't know. You're supposed to...
Like, the thing that I don't like is Star Wars shouldn't be like Marvel.
You don't have to watch everything.
Yeah, like Marvel, like, I hate Marvel, okay? But, like, Marvel is so built on the premise of people crossing over all the time and having to have seen every movie to watch the next one that, like, it's not even worth complaining about anymore. But Star Wars has never been like Marvel, where you have to watch like everything in order to get. But now they're trying to turn like these new Star Wars live action shows into like Marvel. They're like, oh, you have to watch The Mandalorian in order to watch Book of Boba Fett. Like my brother, I started watching Book of Boba Fett with my brother, and I was like, oh no, how am I gonna like watch the rest of the show with him? Because like it turns into The Mandalorian, and like I can't watch it without him having seen like he's seen. Like the first half of the first season, but like he hasn't seen all of the Mandalorian, so I would have to like watch Mandalorian with him and then watch like those. Like it's like, and then he came home a couple days ago. And we just watched the finale, and he like enjoyed it, but like he didn't really get all the context around it. No. Like, and like I told him that we had watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like that's literally all the context that's given. It's like that. That's it. That's it. That's all the context.
Then you have the 5th and 6th episodes that aren't even really connected.
There's no emotion to any of it. Like I didn't feel like I didn't tear up. There wasn't any emotion. I wasn't like when Boba's like,
so
I can't leave the town behind. I was like, you don't even know the town.
We haven't been shown.
Like they should have like spent an episode just having him like go around the village or the town, interacting with the people. Like, I don't know, stopping petty crimes or something.
Yeah.
And then the people are like, you know what, that guy's pretty cool. Like, they come to respect him. And then once the Pikes show up, it actually feels like, oh, crap, like they are, like, threatening these people that Boba cares about. And like I understand that like the show's trying to go for this theme of like unity. Like you've got him and the Tuskens, and then he's created this new like tribe for himself with all these new like allies and friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But like it's so rushed. Like there's no like they don't develop it enough to the point where like I can really feel any emotional attachment to any of it.
It's just it's disappointing because it's just so disconnected. And we thought they were going to focus on Boba's character. They did for the first 4 episodes, and then they had no ideas for the present in this show. They had no idea where to take his character after giving some background. Yeah, that was kind of not upsetting, but it was disappointing.
It was upsetting because I was looking forward to this show.
Yeah.
Like out of all the upcoming Star Wars shows, like last year, I was like, this is the one I'm looking forward to. I like Boba Fett. I like what they did with him in The Mandalorian. These other shows have information that we know about them that made me nervous. Like Ahsoka, you already assassinated her character in The Mandalorian. Obi-Wan has potential of ruining the original trilogy. Book of Boba Fett, there was so little known about it, and they couldn't really ruin everything, like anything. Oh yeah. Boy, was I wrong. They literally ruined like the entire narrative they've set up. Like this new connected universe. Like this is feeling like Marvel.
Yeah.
This is like the MCU. Like this new live action Star Wars TV universe is literally becoming the MCU. Like a bunch of different stories that contradict each other, reset all the events that happen.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing they did with Endgame and Infinity War. Like they're like, oh, we killed everyone at the end of Infinity War. Now they're all back. Grogu leaves Mando, but now they're back. Like, what if, like, let's just say I'm like a person who's like, oh, I really like Mandalorian. I don't really care that much about that Boba Fett guy, though, so I'll just watch The Mandalorian. And I'm like, okay, I watched the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I'm like, oh, man, that was a really, like, sad ending, but it was really good when he had to leave that baby behind. And then, like, I jump into Mandalorian Season 3, and then they're just, like, flying around together. I'm like, wait, what did I miss? Like, what happened? You know? Like, oh, sorry, you had to watch the Book of Boba Fett in order to understand that. Like, why? Why is it now a Marvel thing? Like, all the characters are, like, inconsistently written. Like, the writing is incoherent. Like, they're just, like, contradicting everything. And it's like Marvel. Like, the continuity is terrible now.
I think it all revolves around money. People have seen the success Marvel has had with this formula. And to some level, they want to copy that and bring the characters together.
I know. And I really did think that, like, Dave Filoni, like, cared about the characters, you know? Like, I liked what he did with the other shows. Like honestly, after how bad these have turned out, I'm like, I have like a newfound respect for Rebels. I used to trash on Rebels, you know. Like a couple of years ago, I was like, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, Rebels sucks because I heard everyone else say that.
And we watched it together.
And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, it was okay. But then, like, now seeing how this live action Star Wars show universe is turning out, I have a newfound respect because Rebels was like, although it did have like an overall lighter tone than Clone Wars and stuff, like I don't love that personally. Like as an older person, like I find more value in more mature stories. But like I have to appreciate that it was a consistently and coherently written narrative. Like it made sense. Everything that happened made sense. Like things they set up came back into play later. Like I watched some of the earlier episodes. Season 2, they established these whales. Final episode, Ezra contacts the whales. They come to help him out. Like they do pay off things that were set up. Yeah. But like now in this new Star Wars live action universe, they set up things, they get a payoff, and then they're just like ruined. Yeah. And it's like, no, we're not only like contradicting the entire narrative here, we're also ruining like other characters. Like I didn't think they could ruin Luke Skywalker. They ruined Luke, and like people who didn't like the sequels and thought that they ruined Luke Skywalker now like the way he's being written in this show.
How do people like
that? Goes against everything that his character stood for.
Yeah, when looking at the show, it's hard to like. I mean, we could look at the first 4 episodes. I thought they did a great job of executing on how Boba was changed. Boba's moral compass was changed by being around a family and a tribe and seeing how compassion for others and teamwork can lead to success and, I don't know, happiness. And he decides that he wants to protect people and be part of, be a protector and a leader. And
Not just a bounty hunter.
Not just a
working
bounty
for other
hunter.
people who don't care about him. He wants
to work with people and with the community.
Yeah, and then they just like, and then at the end he just like takes a giant monster into the town and
he doesn't put the town's first interest in mind.
well, he does, but then
in the
everyone
plan.
else like tells him not to do that. They're like, we
Oh
need to
yeah,
fight.
that's right. They tell him what to do, right?
Yeah, they're like,
Oh,
we should
God.
fight in the town, even though he's like, we should go back to the palace where there aren't a bunch of innocent people and where it's more heavily fortified.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, let's fight in the middle of the goddamn
It
street.
would have made a lot of sense if Fennec was actually the villain, because she came up with that plan.
Yeah, it would have. Like everything about her was like shady. Like her character's attitude
Very
was shady. Like she seemed
so
off,
vague.
and like every piece of like there were inconsistencies in the writing.
Just turns out it's bad writing.
Yeah, it just turns out it was bad writing. I should have like I don't know.
Really bad
Because like
writing.
everyone praised Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and I thought they did a good job with Mandalorian for the most part. So I was like, okay,
Her character is not a character.
no, it's just she's just like there.
action lady.
She's just like a ninja.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't like she's no character out of like over the course of all these shows. Yo, Alpha for Ming-Na Wen.
She's like a robot.
Ming-Na Wen,
I
like
don't know.
Ming-Na Wen's
She
good.
doesn't do a bad job acting. The acting's like good, but like there's no writing.
Yeah,
for
because
it.
I thought the weird like way her character was acting was because they wanted you to think she was shady, so that like once that twist occurred, it would make sense. But it turns out, what in that scene in the fourth episode or whatever, when she's just like after Boba gets assassinated, she's just like chilling with her feet up, like acting completely like unfazed by what's just occurred.
That's just her.
That's just them trying to give her some sort of personality, because they've never given like her any defining character traits or any personality. Like all she does is kick people and punch people and shoot people. Like she has no character.
Yeah.
And like that would have given her a character, because like early in the show, Boba's like, I want to become a leader, and she's like, we are bounty hunters. We don't do that. That's not part of.
She has
our...
one line in the last episode, something about manners. Not one line, but like, well, she was like, I like the manners, and she's like a trained assassin and killer. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean manners? God.
Yeah, it was funny when they're like, thank you. And she's like, manners. I like it. And then drives away.
Oh, God. It was,
And my brother pointed out this when we were watching it.
Yeah.
Is when she jumps down there, like, that's her speeder bike. Like, it's just conveniently, like, there. Right next to the, right next to the biker gang.
Yeah, it's just very lazy. They did not care at all, man.
No, it would have made sense. And it would have, like, added this emotional, like, layer to it, where it's like, Boba's lessons of learning to become part of a tribe and stuff, like it turns out like not all of that was like correct. And like he trusted Fennec and she betrayed him.
Yep.
And like then like you could still have that imagery of him having to like leave behind his past or whatever, destroy the past, his past like self or whatever, because Fennec is like a bounty hunter. And like you don't see like her change in like worldview. Like earlier in the show, like the only line that I feel gives any context to her character is like she's just a bounty hunter. Like there's one line from The Bad Batch where she tells Cad Bane, you and I know it's all about the price. And that's like the only line that gives her character like any context. It's just like, okay, I don't care about anything. I just care about the money. And in this show, she still kind of has that ideology. She's like, oh, I'm a bounty hunter. You can't be a crime lord, or you can't be a leader, because that's not what we do. And she's confused and she doesn't agree with his ideology. And then at the end of the show, Boba and her walking down the street and he goes, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And she says, if not us, who else, or something like that. And it's like, wait, so when did your ideologies change? When did your worldview change? When did this development take place? We never saw that.
No.
She just like changed her ideology off screen. Like her character is literally just like an undying loyalist to Boba Fett for no reason. Like she's just like...
You don't see it. In the fourth episode where we see her introduction, I thought that would be explained more. There's just one line where she's like, I'll stick with you. For right now.
What does he say? He's like, where do you want to go? And she's like, I'll stick around for the ride.
It's not like she's loyal to him. Like she has an unpaying debt. She just said, I'll stick around for the ride. Like
no, well, in The Mandalorian, she says, I owe him my life or something.
But that's not even shown in the show. Like she has that gratitude. The gratitude isn't even shown in the show. She's just
and I thought that was going to be because she's like a double agent. She's working for the Hutts.
But no, it's just bad writing.
She doesn't have a character.
They don't give her any lines really. Like
she's just there. She's just
other than telling other than helping Boba formulate a plan. She doesn't really have any lines.
No, she didn't help him. She formulated the entire plan.
In the final episode?
In the 6th episode. She's the one giving the
even in the 4th episode, she kind of comes up with plans. I don't know. And then Boba, like, oh, that was so dumb when he went into the Sarlacc pit. Oh man, I think you already mentioned that, but that was really dumb.
When he like went into the
There's a lot of dumb scenes in the show, like really dumb scenes that don't make any sense.
And it's like I've never had this
So
like
sloppy.
I've never had this experience with any show, especially not any of these like Marvel Star Wars shows.
So
like
drop off.
with most of these shows, like either it's like it's bad and it stays bad, or it gets worse,
Or it's good.
or it's good and then it gets better. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I liked it at the beginning, and then it got even better and it got great.
This was good and then awful.
Yeah, it's like and like Hawkeye was like weird because I thought it was mediocre and then I liked it and then it was bad.
Yeah.
And then this was like really good for half of it, and then it was like abysmally bad. And I'm like, I've never had that experience. Like,
it's a weird experience.
Even when Hawkeye was bad at the end, I was like, it's just bad. Like, there's nothing exceptionally bad. It's just bad. This was like next level bad. And in context of Star Wars, like, would you say, like I said this in my recent video, I don't know, would you say this is the worst written Star Wars since Rise of Skywalker? I would.
It definitely has the most plot holes of any Star Wars product I've seen, for sure. Especially the 7th episode, 6th episode. There's a lot.
The final 2 are some of the worst written stuff I've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
It's just like, what was the and like
maybe the arc with Ahsoka and the sisters was worse though, because they're supposed to be portrayed as likable characters, and they're the most like dislikable characters.
That was just bad. Like that was plain bad.
I don't know,
but like this stung. Especially because like I liked a lot of the show. I liked to loved it. I would say 2nd and 4th episodes I loved. 1st and 3rd I liked, and then 5 I liked. What?
My favorite one was the 2nd.
Yeah, I agree.
5 was fine. Yeah, it was good.
5 was fine as a Mandalorian episode, but then like 6 and 7 were like a complete drop off. Like they were like awful. They're terrible. In every conceivable way. And it's like, what happened to this show, man?
They just didn't have an idea of what they're doing. Like with
they knew people would just be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I feel like that's a problem. They following the Marvel formula. I think I don't know if it has to do with COVID, but even before COVID, people were buying into bad writing, calling movies that weren't that great, such as Endgame, one of the greatest movies of all time. I'm not saying people are saying this is great, but I'm saying that people are buying into the formula of bad writing. They just care about the action and the characters.
They care about seeing things they know. Look,
cameo.
Look at that guy. It's Luke. Look, it's Ahsoka.
Even if it doesn't add anything to the story, instead contriving the story.
It contrives. Well, not only contrives the story, it ruins their pre-established characters.
Yeah.
If I look at Ahsoka's character in the animated stuff, it's perfectly consistent. Look at her, like the second she gets introduced to live action, they mess up her character. And like, I can't say necessarily that this show like destroyed Boba Fett, because like it did like develop him for like half of it.
Yeah.
But like, and like, I can't say they necessarily did anything to contradict what they set up in the ending, but like, nothing changed. Like we didn't get to see the conclusion of his arc. They set up his arc and didn't conclude it.
No,
they just set something up and then nothing happened.
Are we good? Do you want to give it a rating? I don't know. I can't really, because I don't even, now that I'm thinking about it more and more, I can't even really give it. I don't view it as like a finished product almost. It's like there were 4 episodes of one show, and then there was 3 episodes of another show. One was
2 episodes of another show.
What was it? Oh, yeah, there was an episode of The Mandalorian. Yeah, it was weird. There's like 3 shows in one show in this. You have one show about a character's moral compass being changed by seeing what the impact of family and community. And then you have an episode of this guy learning about the rules of a sword. And then you have two episodes of... No. You have another episode of The Mandalorian seeing his baby friend. That's not even a baby.
50-year-old man.
Yeah. And then you go back to the story. Then you have another show where it's Boba Fett, the guy from the first show, and he's fighting with Mando, the guy from the second show, and the third show takes place in one episode, and it's a big monster fest. Yeah,
It was like a Marvel movie.
3 shows.
It was so bad. Like
in one show.
Yeah, and it was like visually it looked fine. All right, like
Yeah,
the Rancor effect was good. Like the CGI, the effects were fine because they space out their releases. Unlike Marvel rushes their releases into like a movie every couple months or whatever.
Yeah,
or every month. Like this was like the first live action Star Wars thing in over a year. So they spaced it out. They took the necessary time to polish up the special effects so it looked visually good. Like the effects didn't look bad, but like I can't deny that it was so boring to watch. It was just like a bunch of smashing, like, and crashing.
Yeah.
The Rancor takes a car and throws it at a building, and it picks up the droid and smashes it into a building. Like, I was like, I can't. What is this? What like because like this wasn't what the show was. Like it was an in-depth character piece. It was a character study of Boba Fett, and then it turned into like CGI noise destruction, and then they just ruined everything. Like weirdly, the one character they didn't completely contradict or destroy was the protagonist for the first 4 episodes, but like every other thing that has been built over like all these shows has been destroyed. Like Ahsoka has been destroyed, Luke has been destroyed, Mando's been destroyed. Why should I be anticipating any of these shows anymore when they show like no like compassion or like any interest in like developing or writing these characters in an intelligent way?
Yeah.
Like Dave Filoni, like F you. Jon Favreau, F you. You've ruined these characters that I liked.
Yeah, so
like why
to sum it up in a couple sentences, we didn't like this show because it wasn't a show. There was no message, no payoff, no character development, a lot of plot holes.
Characters went backwards. It had development. They developed backwards.
Yes. Yeah. Lack of care. There was a lot of stuff in there.
I can't, like, the thing is, I can't say I didn't like it because I liked the first 4. But
looking at it as a whole,
does it matter?
No, not
Does
really.
it matter that I thought the first 4 were good to great if
the
destination was nothing?
Yeah, there was no point. No. So,
like, I mean, I don't want to say there wasn't. Like, they tried to kind of have a message, like
it could have been a 4 episode show.
It didn't like they didn't pay it off. Like Boba Fett's character didn't apply what he learned from the Tuskens into his ruling of the town. He just smashed the town up with the Rancor, and then instantly at the end of the day, the town respects him now. And they're just like, oh, we like you, have a melon. And then Chrysanthemum takes the melon, and then your favorite part is when the biker is like, hey, why did I get a melon? That was funny as hell.
Yeah, that was really funny.
And then Cobb Vanth was in a back to tank or
they're just doing that thing where characters come back to life. I honestly, he probably should have just died, Cobb Vanth. It doesn't really matter.
Why does it matter? He's not really that much of a character. He's just a guy who's there.
It's just I don't get it, man. It just wasn't very good. As
Cobb Vanth gets torched by the Velder guy.
Yeah.
What was the guy? What's the action? Thundercat.
Thundercat
is gonna turn Cobb Vanth into one of the bikers.
Yeah,
Cobb Vanth is gonna become a Spy Kid. Yeah?
Spy Kid.
Your favorite characters.
Oh my god, that was really weird. I don't want to ramble on about it, but because I think we're coming to a conclusion here. But the Spy Kids are another example of. I think they perfectly kind of show this. They perfectly describe the show. Messy, ugly.
I don't think it's ugly.
I mean, just as a writing, just the writing.
Oh, okay.
Ugly, and it's paced. Not paced, but it's weird because you have 4 episodes of Boba's show, 2 episodes of Mando's show, then you're supposed to go back to Boba's show. It's just. And the episodes aren't paced badly, but the show is paced badly. If you get
the show is not constructed properly.
No,
it's not Boba Fett.
No, it's not.
It's like a bunch of other people. It's like an Avengers movie.
Random people. Yeah.
An Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee you, dude, like, someday there's going to be, like, a thing where Thrawn comes in like Thanos, and he's like, I'm going to enjoy killing you. And then, like, Ahsoka, Mando, and Boba Fett stand together, and it's like, dun, 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 dun. Like, I guarantee it's going to turn into, like, an Avengers. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's so crappy.
It's
like,
not good.
No, it's so bad. I'm so sad. Like, I was legitimately anticipating it. Like, I had nothing else to look forward to last year. So I was like, Book of Boba Fett. It'll be good. And it was good. But then it, like, went to crap. Like, what happened? Like, they were, like, writing the show, and then, like, someone, like, accidentally dropped, like, half of the script into, like an incinerator, and they were like, like, scribbled down a bunch of, like, random crap, and then that's what the show ended up being. Like,
yeah.
Like, what even, like...
I don't know, man.
Like, what are you looking forward to out of Star Wars?
Honestly, don't really know, to be honest.
Star Wars, like, nothing.
I'm not against Star Wars. I'm just not, like... I guess I'm not, like, a huge fan for, like, any corporate... I like most Star Wars products, but I'm, like... I don't really, like, think about them a lot. Same thing goes with Marvel, DC. I mean, I guess maybe... I
like Star Wars. At least I did.
It's not like I don't like it. I just don't really, like... I don't know.
I thought they were quality. I thought they were producing quality stuff until this.
Yeah.
Until the end of this.
Yeah, this isn't quality. This is the opposite of quality. Maybe this is a unique thing. Maybe it won't be like this with other shows, but...
Why would it not be? Because,
know.
like, now I'm like... Like, Mandalorian Season 1 wasn't that good. Like, I don't think.
I just don't think...
And now I'm like, what does Mandalorian Season 2 mean? Like, what is the point of that? Like,
I don't know.
Nothing happened.
Maybe they have an idea for Season 3 of Mandalorian, and they just focus on that.
No, but that was what the stuff with them in this show should have been, but they rushed it into, like, 2 episodes. Like...
yeah. It's just... I don't really know what I'm looking forward to answer your question.
I guess, like, didn't they just say the Obi-Wan show's coming out on May 25th?
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to that, to be honest.
Really? I don't know. But, like, it's, like, set in the past, so maybe, like the main ones I'm not looking forward to are ones that are connected to this. So, like, Mandalorian Season 3, Ahsoka...
I just
don't care. I'm done.
I don't think you need to bring back characters, especially... I don't think you need to bring back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. Like, that doesn't... That's just me. I think bringing back the characters from 1983... I didn't even think Luke was a... I don't think they did a bad job with Luke in Last Jedi. I just don't think it was a good idea to, like, bring back all these old characters. I think just leave projects alone and create your own new projects. But...
Yeah, like, Mandalorian was that, and they decided to branch off and make it into this Marvel connected universe thing, and now they've just ruined all the characters that they created. They ruined Ahsoka, they ruined Luke, they ruined everybody. Like, why should I care about these shows when you've ruined everything that I cared about? Like, I'm kind of looking forward to Bad Batch Season 2.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Season 1 was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Season 1 was really good, but, like, I hope they don't try to connect it too much to this.
Do you think they will? Oh, I hope not. I mean, Fennec wasn't bad, but...
I just hope they, like, don't try to do it. Like, I felt Season 1 did a good job of that. Like, it had people in it that do appear in the other shows, but, like, it wasn't, like, to the extent where they, like, took over the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, in this case, they literally hijacked the whole, like... I watched the first couple episodes with my brother last night again. And it was like, I was like, this is freaking awesome. Like, this show's good.
Maybe I'm looking forward to the show that was made by the person that hasn't watched any Star Wars before. It's, like, set early in time, like, during the Darth Plagueis days, kind of, I think. Or maybe even before that.
Was that the one, Acolyte?
That's the Acolyte one, yeah. Because we'll be introduced to brand new characters that we didn't know before. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. Or maybe, like... They're all just show up because it's like a time travel show. And
yeah, everyone shows up from the future.
Okay.
And they're like, Doc, I'm back from the future. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah.
It's all just gone to crap. What would you give it out of
a 10? Oh, a 10? Honestly, I don't know. Like a 4.5. I go 4.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't really base the show just off the 4 episodes because it just doesn't really pay off too well. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a 5, 4.5.
I would. Oh.
I wouldn't give it anything above.
I'm trying to,
6,
because like, I'm trying to think like objectively about it, like, because more than half of it was good. Because there were 3 episodes that were like, well, one of them like wasn't bad, but it wasn't even. I'm not even gonna consider it part of the show because it wasn't really. So like 2 of them were awful. One of them was okay, but it wasn't really like a Boba Fett episode. And more than half of it was good because there's 7 and 4 of them were good. So that's like more than like that's a majority that was good. Like more that were good than bad. But the stuff that was bad like made everything else worse. You know? Like everything else got like ruined. Like and not just this show, like Mandalorian too. Like you ruined it. You ruined Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You give it a 7 out of 10. What? Wow. Oh, man, that's high praise, dude. Oh. I don't know. I'm just so disappointed because this was my most anticipated one, and it like ended up being like crap by the end. Like there's no value to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I give it like under 5. It's just like I don't find any value.
I might give it like a 5.5.
Yeah.
5.5. Because like I liked the first 4 and then like I liked the 5th one, but it wasn't really part of the show, but I still could kind of liked it. So like that would be like 5. It was like half of it was good and then like
2 of it.
a little bit. Yeah. So like I'd say like objectively if like I would, but it's like it's one of those ones where I'm like I can't rewatch it.
Oh,
and now I'm like I don't really like I was like, oh maybe I'll go rewatch Mandalorian, but now I'm like I don't know if I want to rewatch Mandalorian. Like Mandalorian, like what value will Mandalorian have now? They've like contradicted everything that happened in it. Like,
yeah, they have.
What like because I was like, and even just rewatching Mandalorian, like I don't think it's one of those shows that really like works well on rewatches. Like when I was rewatching some of the episodes, like while Boba Fett was happening, to refresh my memory on certain like bits of information, like I was like, this isn't as good as I remember it being. Like I think it's like I think it was one of those things where I was like caught up in the hype of it, right?
I think this show works off like shock value, the Mandalorian.
Yeah, like season 2 was like fun while it was happening because like it was like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Like where are they gonna take the characters? Who's gonna show up? And we were like watching Clone Wars at the same time as watching that. So like for us it was like fun. And it was fun to watch when it was coming up, but I feel like if viewed like actually as a binge, like I feel like it doesn't really work. Like I don't feel like as a show it works that well.
And when you analyze it, it's like it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not like amazing or anything.
No. It's like Clone Wars, even Rebels is better than it. Rebels is better. Clone Wars is better. Bad Batch is better. The animated stuff's just better all around.
Yeah.
The animated Star Wars stuff is just better objectively. Like there's way less problems with the writing, and even when like Clone Wars had bad episodes and arcs, like there were way more that like were good than bad. Yeah. So yeah, it was. I mean, I'm glad you didn't have a serious, or you weren't like seriously disappointed by it, Braden. I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, it killed me. Like watching that like 7th episode, like legitimately made me sad. Like I was legitimately sad that the show turned out so bad. Like. But yeah, I think we've covered basically everything.
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett. It had potential.
Yeah, definitely.
It had a lot of potential to it. Not really wanting to check out any of the newer Star Wars stuff. Like it's set in this like shared universe of TV shows like Ahsoka and Mandalorian.
No, it's gonna be like
I might watch like some of Obi-Wan. Because like it's not set in the same time period, it probably won't be connected to all this, so it might be okay. And like Bad Batch, I'm looking forward to because season 1 was really good, but yeah, I'm not really planning on tuning in heavily to any of the Star Wars stuff now because this one just like was such a disappointment. They messed up the Kenobi show, you'll be crushed. Yeah, me too. I guess not really. I don't know. Like I'm not really expecting it to be that good. Like, how are they going to have Obi-Wan and Vader duel when, like, the last time they saw each other was Revenge of the Sith by the time A New Hope rolls around? Like, how are they going to make that make sense?
Time travel.
Time travel, God. Time travel. They did it good in Rebels because they, like, got rid of it immediately, but then they were like, oh, now we have to do it again. I don't know. Yeah. That's about all we have to say, though, here.
Yeah.
Braden, I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow because we're gonna do our live or your podcast or whatever. So I will talk to you then. Israel Animation, thanks for tuning in when you did. Sorry that the live stream ended before you could rejoin, but I'm sure we'll talk about more stuff in the future at some point. Yeah, thanks everybody who tuned in. Thanks for joining. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye.